So the roundtable that we recently held was about supplier exit. It's part of a wider series of roundtables on supply chain resilience. So we had the introduction to the topic previously, and this time we were specifically talking about the exit of suppliers and how that might impact your business and how best to plan for that. So we had a number of different businesses from different industries, primarily financial services are involved. However, we do have some representation from legal industry and also retailers as well. Anyone really who has, all businesses are going to use suppliers, and making sure that they exit, in a way that is preferred to the business will be of interest to anyone. So, in terms of individuals, the roles that we tend to have at these roundtables can be, again, anyone who's involved in managing suppliers or oversight of that. So we might have supplier relationship managers, we might have people from audit who are ensuring that the processes are in place. But also maybe the teams also operationally who are involved in and have the experience of managing supplier exits as well. So this topic is of interest because suppliers play a key part of delivering to your customers, to your business. So making sure that in the either unplanned or planned scenario where you need to move away from a supplier, that's really key that it's managed in the most efficient way. And the best way to do that is making sure it's planned up front, which isn't always possible. So actually these roundtables allowing people to share experience on the topic or insights or ask questions of others in the industry is really important for them to understand the best way to manage their suppliers should they come into that unfortunate situation where a supplier exit is needed or is wanted. So during the session, the key items covered were such things as people's current level of preparedness, to sort of set the scene, people's current understanding of the topic of supplier exit, perhaps some people with some current experiences, whether they've needed to move away from a supplier or perhaps they have some key suppliers, critical sort of outsourced vendors that they have at the moment, but they wouldn't necessarily know what to do if they needed to exit that scenario. So those were the kind of areas of discussion, some areas of best practice suggested, but also a bit of level setting across those different roles that I mentioned, those different industries, about really how to best manage and sort of plan for those supplier exits. So in summary, I think the key takeaways from the session were that it's a really important topic that lots of people are interested in at the moment and don't always know exactly the best way to manage the supplier exit, mainly because it sounds at the moment that a lot of businesses are in a bit of a middle ground where new suppliers that come on board, they're quite well versed and they've got their supplier exits planned for as best they can with those new relationships. However, a lot of businesses have historical ongoing relationships with suppliers that perhaps they haven't been able to plan best for that supplier exit. So that was one area of keen discussion that I think a lot of businesses are facing. Others were that also an interesting angle that was brought up in the session was that although it's very important and useful to plan for your supplier exit, you're also at that point almost looking to you're expecting failure. And when you're dealing with stakeholders in the business who are very excited about bringing on a new supplier to bring some new business benefit, you have to be careful in managing the sort of optics, I suppose, of planning for that. Hopefully not, but that eventual failure that may or may not occur with that exit as well. So it's not just about doing the planning, but making sure it's done in a way that takes the business's angle in part of that as well. Supplier exit roundtable we've just held is part of a wider series, as I mentioned, part of the supply chain resilience roundtable series that we're hosting as DCR Partners. Next, we're hoping to run a similar roundtable on that ongoing management of suppliers. So you've signed the contract, you're now in that sort of delivery phase of that stakeholder and the suppliers with you, and how best do you manage that, your ongoing due diligence, etc. Is it too heavy, is it too light? And then finally, we hope to finish the supplier life cycle then with the onboarding part as well. So we've done it a little bit backwards, but the supplier exit was very much one that we had lots of requests for, so we brought that forward and held that recently. But we'll be looking to finish the supplier life cycle as a series of roundtables. So to get involved is very simple. Just get in contact with myself or Raj or any of the DCR team really through the website or through LinkedIn. We'd be happy to give you information about upcoming events and also learn a bit more about your business and what it is that you're interested in in terms of the supplier supply chain resilience or specific parts of the supplier life cycle.